All right, now that we've gone through some of the basics, I'm going to move into actions. First, we're going to just go ahead and upload a little profile pic here. I'll go grab the DNC logo. Okay, let's save that. Should get a little notification up here. Go over to my app simulator. Reload real quick, and now we can see the change. I'm going to go ahead and log in here. I'm going to create a new user. I'm going to create a fake email address. Sign up. All right. So you'll notice that the front line is empty. So that's because we haven't published any actions yet. So we'll go ahead and cover that. So if we go over here to the Actions tab, you'll see our list of actions is empty. We can click Create a New Action. For the type, I'm going to choose Open a Web Page. For the publish date, you can see here when you hover over the little question mark that this is an optional field. You can select a date that an action will automatically go live, or you can leave it blank and go ahead and publish it manually, which is what we're going to do now. All right, so let's grab an image. Let's see, what do we have here? How about minimum wage? That's good. Okay. I'm going to give that a second. There we go. Now we can see a little banner image that will appear in our post. We'll see a preview of this as well before we publish it. I'm going to say my first post for the title, my post description goes here. Let's send folks to Google. Okay, that'll be our web link. And for the call to action, we can choose any of these. This is just the copy that appears in the button at the bottom of the action. So I'm going to go ahead and say read more for this. I'm going to save the action. Okay, and now we're looking at our list and we can see our first action. We can see that it is currently in draft status. We can see the type, and it's not published yet, but once it is published and folks take action on it, you'll be able to see how many times someone has seen it, how many times someone has clicked on it, how many times or how many people have completed it, and the total number of times people have gone through. So this one will be total number of users who completed it, and this performs will be the total number of times it was completed. So some users may complete it more than once, depending on what it is. So that's our first post. Let's go ahead and click on it. All right, so we can see a simple little preview here. And then if we click Make Public, we're going to say yes. All right, it says our action is being made public. So we can go ahead and click on Actions to see it in the list. And now we can see that it has been published. So if I go over here and I refresh my timeline, now I can see the first post. And if I click Read More, I'm taken to the web link. There we go. So you can use this to send people to any web page you want. It's a convenient way to drive people to petitions, for example, or websites where they can send letters. You can drive people to news articles on your own website. You can drive people to participate in discussions on the web. So if there's a particular forum where an important issue is being discussed for you and you want to try and mobilize your Outvote users to go there and participate in that discussion, this is a great way to do that. And then we can also, by default, when you click Done here, you'll see this little alert and it says, were you able to complete this action, yes or no? And so this is particularly useful for, like I said, petition actions, things where there's a call for Outvote users to go to a web link and do something. And they can go ahead and click yes if they were able to do it. So that's the first sort of example, a very simple one. You can go through and create a new type of action. Just to show you that, let's go ahead and create a friend-to-friend texting action. We're going to also publish it manually. I think I'm probably just going to pick the same image, but obviously you can choose anything you want. Oh, here we go. We actually have a very nice picture of New Mexico. There we go. All right, so we're going to say my second action. Great. And this is also just any description you want. So this is a friend-to-friend texting action. So this is an action where we're going to make some scripts for folks to use when reaching out to their friends by SMS. So friend-to-friend texting actions actually come from users' own number. So they'll start the action in Outvote, they'll choose or modify their script, and then they'll select their friends, and then Outvote will make it easy to sort of bounce back and forth between messaging and coming back to modify the script if needed. Okay, so we're going to choose our button text. I think we're going to go ahead and say mobilize friends. Okay, so there are two types of scripts. There's initial and response. So the initial script is what happens when folks take action and text their friends. The response script is added to a list of canned responses that folks can use when people respond to their initial message. So this is going to be, we're going to give this a name. This is mostly for internal purposes, but we're going to say my initial script. And we can make our script anything we want, but let's say, hey, have you heard of this great app called Outvote? Check it out at Outvote.io. So one little tip here is that it's always best to put links at the very end of your script. Don't include anything after it, like a period or a space. If you put it at the very end with nothing after it, you'll be able to get a very nice preview in your messaging client. So when the recipient goes to their iMessage or their Android Messenger and they open up that text, what they're going to see is that nice little preview image that comes up above the link. So it's just a way to make sure that that default functionality on the phones is working for you. Great. We can go ahead and save this. I'll just show you the response script. It's exactly the same. Call it whatever you want. Let's say invite to event. We're going to say, great, I'm glad you liked it. And users can select these templates and modify them before they send them. So don't worry if you include some specific stuff that users will want to change. I'm going to say, great, I'm glad you liked it. We're having a training tonight at 6. Okay. Great, so now we've got an initial script and a response script. I'm going to go ahead and save this action. Great. Now we can see here the action is in draft form. I'm going to go ahead and click into it again. I'm going to say make public. Okay. I'm going to go back to my actions list, and now I can see that it's published. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to refresh my front line. There we go. Now we've got our second action. So let's go ahead and click on Mobilize Friends. Okay, looks like I haven't synced my contacts, which is necessary if you want to reach out to your friends. So I'm going to go ahead and click Sync Contacts. There we go. These are just some contacts that are automatically generated by the simulator. They don't actually exist, but I'm going to go ahead and select them, and we're going to say Get Started. All right, so this is my initial script. So the user can go ahead and modify this anything they want, and click send. This is what the user will actually see. It automatically pulls up the message, it automatically queues up your script, and all they have to do is hit send, and they will automatically be taken to, they'll automatically send the message and be taken back to the next person in the list. So now they can just hit send. You get taken back. Now we're at the next person, Kate Bell, hit send again, so on and so forth. And you can bang out a lot of messages very quickly that way. All right, let's go ahead and create another action. This time we can do social sharing. Go ahead and upload our beautiful image of New Mexico again. All right. Title's going to be please share this link. Great. The description of what we're sharing and why. We're just going to go ahead and put in Google here, but we can share obviously a link to anything we want. I'm going to say share and save that. Great. And click into the draft. Click make public. There we go. Go back to my list. You can see that it's published. I'll go ahead and refresh my front line. There we go. Now it says please share this link. And we're going to click share. And you can see here that this brings up the default sharing interface for the user's phone. So this works on both Apple and Android. And you're going to see any apps on their phone here that are capable of sharing a link. So you're going to see your Twitter, you're going to see Facebook Messenger, you're going to see Facebook, Snapchat, any app that provides native sharing capacity will show up in this list on both Apple and Android. But this simulator doesn't have any of those. So what we can do is just hit copy, which is another way to do it. So when the user has an app, for example, Twitter on their phone, when they click Twitter, it'll take them directly to Twitter and populate that link in their Twitter app. And then when they're done and they come back to Outvote, they'll see this alert that asks them if they were able to share. All right. So I want to go ahead and create a P2P, which is a peer-to-peer texting action. So this is a text action that, instead of coming from a user's own number, comes from an Outvote number. And this is a great way for campaigns to upload a list of folks that they want to reach out to, for example, a list of voters, and just bang through those text messages very, very quickly. So you can go to the Lists tab, and you can upload a list. So I'm going to go ahead and click Import List. So now here we can see that the file has some requirements. So we want a CSV file, and it has 3 mandatory fields: first name, last name, and phone. And it also has an optional van ID. So let's go ahead and make that real quick. So you can create a CSV file in any spreadsheet software. You can create it in Google Docs or Excel or OpenOffice, whatever works for you. I'm going to go ahead and create mine in OpenOffice. So let's go ahead and just look at those requirements. So we need first underscore name. We need last underscore name. And we need phone. All right. So I'm going to say John Doe and Jane Doe. I'm going to enter a phone number here. Actually, I think I'm going to advise folks to just go the simplest possible route and put in just the number. I'm actually going to just make sure that this number, that I don't bother anyone here. So I know for a fact that that number does not exist, although it is valid. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, great. So now we have two valid numbers that I happen to know are not connected to real phones, so we can use them without bothering anyone. And we've made sure that our column headers are correct. It's first underscore name, all lowercase, last underscore name, all lowercase, and phone. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Save it in my client collateral folder. I'm going to call it list for upload. The defaults for any program that you're using for CSV are going to be just fine. Don't worry about changing any of them. Great. Great. Saved our active sheet. Now I'm going to close this. Go over here. Grab my list for upload. All right, got the little green check mark. I'm going to say start import. Oh, we need a name. My first list. There we go. All right, now you can see that this is processing. So you can go ahead and refresh the page to check if it's done. And it looks like it is. Great. Okay, so now, so there's some default lists on here that Outvote automatically provides. You can see that the source is Outvote. They're going to be all of your contacts, which we just uploaded our first two. So now we have those in here as well. We'll have friends. So as users join our campaign and bring in contacts, we'll see friends. We've got newly identified. So these are folks that come from voter ID actions. We've got mobile subscribers. So these are folks that, if you choose to use Outvote's broadcast SMS capacity, the folks that sign up there will show up here. And we've also got an automatic do not call list. So this is anyone who gets an SMS message from an Outvote number and says stop or unsubscribe. And users can also do data entry and outreach reports that include a do not call flag if folks want it to be so. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my first list. We can see our folks in here. Great. Back to lists. Okay. Now we're ready to create our first P2P texting action, peer-to-peer texting action. So let's go ahead and create this. I'm going to call this, or we're going to select peer-to-peer texting. It asks us to select a list to target. We're going to go ahead and choose my first list. We're going to also go ahead and publish manually again. Let's change up the photo a little bit. Let's say, well, let's go back to minimum wage. All right, there we go. Okay, title is going to be let's text some voters. Description, again, probably about the action, you know, what your script is about, get folks a little bit excited to do this work. All right, we're going to say start texting is our button text. All right, so script, or this name is purely for internal purposes. And this is going to say, have you heard of our candidate? She's great. find out more. Include a little link. Go ahead and include the full address. There we go. Got our script. Go ahead and hit save. All right. So we've got it in draft. Let's go ahead and click into it. You can see what it'll look like. Go ahead and click publish. There we go. All right. Check our list of actions. One thing that you'll want to do before you get started on any peer-to-peer texting actions is go ahead and take a quick trip down to settings. I'll cover this in a later video as well, but and go ahead and click on the texting tab. And here you can set the time limits for when your volunteers can text. So you want to make sure that you're not texting voters too early or too late. And you can also set a preferred area code or area codes here. So let's say, we want area codes 208 and 414. So go ahead and separate your preferred area codes by commas and then click Save Settings. Settings have been saved. Great. Now we can go back up to our actions and we can see that it's published. Go and refresh the front line. There we are. Let's go ahead and click Start Texting. All right, so now we've got our first person in our list. We can see the script that we wrote. Hit send. Now we see the second person in our list. And hit send. Great. All done. Check your inbox for responses. There we go. So these are the threads that we started earlier in our friend-to-friend texting action. And any responses that we get from our list text that we just did will show up here as well. Just go ahead and click into one of these threads so you can see what it looks like. This is the initial message that folks get from an Outvote staffer that users will get if they need any help. These are the friend messages. There's a little note here that says, anything that you put into your, anything that you queue up to send here, you'll be automatically sent over to your own messenger so that it comes from your number. And we can also click on this little blue icon here, and we can see the canned response. This is the follow-up template that we made when we created the friend-to-friend texting action. Great. So we'll go ahead and click back. And like I said, any responses that we get from any of our texting will show up here. Specifically our list texting. Great. Go back to the Home tab. All right, so I think that covers the majority of the actions you can create on Outvote, and as well as list creation. We'll cover a little bit more about lists and a little bit more about the settings that we saw earlier in a future video.